Okay, we're getting ready to begin Access Training Lesson 8, and in this lesson we're going to create a report using the wizard. We're going to look at a report within Print View, because as soon as you create the report with the wizard, it goes ahead and throws it into a Print View. We're then going to edit a report into Design View. We're going to look at adding a field to a report. We'll look at the Properties sheet in the Design View, and then we'll also look at formatting of a report. Alright, so here again, in order to create a report, we want to start with Create. And you'll notice that you'll have you have our table, we have our query, we have our form, and over here we have our options for the report, which even includes making labels of the information we have, and we'll look at making labels in another video. But we're going to go ahead and click on Report Wizard, and sometimes this message come up and we'll just go ahead and click it. Alright, and then you're going to notice that we have the customer table, and if I drop it down, I have my loan table, the state table, and then we also have our loan table query. So queries will start showing up because it says tables and queries as options to make reports on. But we're just going to do the customer table, and inside this customer table we're going to add the customer ID. We're going to add the first name, the last name, and then we're going to do phone and email. And we'll go ahead and click Next. And it asks if you want to group the customer. So if we were doing something else where, you know, maybe we're doing loans for the loans, we can group on all the boat loans, all the home loans, but we're going to skip that in this report, and we're going to go ahead and say Next. Now this is the order that we want to ascend or descend. So let's go ahead and do last name in ascending order, and then we could also do first name or whatever, but we're just going to do last name now, and we'll click Next. And these are the way our table is going to look right now. So we could do a columnar, it's in columns, or justified, or tabular. So we're going to do here, we're going to go landscape, alright, because we have more fields, gives us more room, and we're going to go Next. And this is where I'm just going to come up here on what you want your title of the report look like. So we're going to go up there and separate customer and table. And why don't we get rid of the word table and just put in there customer information. Okay. Now here again, we could go into the modifier, we go into preview, but we're going to go into the preview of the report. Oh, wait a sec. I got too many O's in information. Okay. And then we'll click Finish. Alright, and this is what our report's going to look like. The last name, right? The customer ID, the first name. So since we did the order on last name, it moved it in front of customer ID. Well, we don't like that. We want to maybe have the customer ID in front of last name, or we have a big space between phone number and name. So what we want to do, you'll notice that, see, it's print, right? And we have the other options here in the print, but we're not going to look at those today. We're just going to say close print preview. And when we close print preview, it puts us right into the report design view. Okay, right in the report design view. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how we can edit it a little bit. I'm going to drag this box to become bigger. So I'll hold the mouse down and I'll drag to the right. I'll stop. Okay, and then when I'm in here, notice that we have report design, arrange, format. So I'm going to click on format, and I'm going to change my font to be Arial black, and I'm going to increase the size from 20 to 22, just to show you that that can be done. Okay. Now what I said was I wanted to put customer ID where customer last name is. So one way to do this is, let's go ahead and shrink first name up. So we're going to come over here and we're going to redesign first name by dragging it a little tighter. Okay, and then if I take my mouse and so I get both of them, and then I can slide them both to the right at the same time. Same thing for customer ID. And then I can come to notice that I can shrink them both at the same time if I select both. And I don't need to grab everything, I just do it just like that. Drag them to the front. Same thing here. Well, here's what I can do. I can then drag first name over. Do phone number. Okay, so that allows me to move them around. So let's go ahead and go back home real quick. Drop this down, we'll look at report view, and you'll see that customer ID is now first, last name still alphabetical order is second, first name is in this column here. Alright, we did format the title, so we are looking at format, but we'll look at more formatting. We still have a lot of space here, but you know, that's, you know, when you're working on it, you can design that however you want. Now, if we drop this down, we have the print view option. Shows us the print view. Notice that when we're in print view, we have the date and we have the page number. And that comes from the footer. Alright, you can also add a report footer if you wanted to, which only ends up on the last page. But let's go ahead and look at adding a new field. So in order to add a new field, here are our options, right? Or anything to the report. So that's a text box, and if you click here, you're going to see that this is also a text box. See that? So these are text boxes here. I'm going to shrink the text box. Alright, I'm going to report, and what we gotta do is grab a text box first, and when I click on it and I draw my text box over here, you're going to see that it brings a label with it and an unbound. So we're going to bound this first. And what we want is birth date. And just to make life a little easier, we're going to click on this text box and just delete it. And we'll come down and we'll add our own label. And inside that label we'll type birth date. so that when we review or view our report, you're going to now see we have birth date, and there is our birth dates for all of the employees. Notice how it puts a box around here. All right, so we're going to do some editing here in the property. So I'm going to go back into view, design view, and what I'm going to do just to make our life a little easier, I'm going to drag the property sheet here and show you how I can adjust it, right, and put it where it's easiest for me. Now you're going to notice that's label, it called it 22. All right, here is our birth date field, it's calling it text 20, and it usually does, see how it gave this one email, so I can come back here and get rid of text 20. Well, it's down here in the report. There should be a name. There's birth dates are control source. And we're going to delete the 20, and we'll keep going and get rid of the text, and we'll put birth date in there, and I'll click off that. Alright, but what I want to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to highlight all my labels at once, and I'm going to go to format. And under format, they're visible, and there is a height and a width and a height that we're not going to top and a bottom. We're not going to mess with that, but we're going to look at a couple of this information here, and that's a border width. There's font size, font weight is normal. I'll get a drop down, and I can make it bold, all right, which bolds that. We talked about getting rid of these two boxes around here. So as we come here, border styles, hairline, okay, border width, border color, if we wanted to put a color, there's border style, and we can make border style transparent, so that when I view it, you're going to see now my titles are bold and my border is transparent, so I no longer see a border. So if you wanted that border, you could add the border on any one of these fields. You can underline if you wanted to. Like I said, we could do this information in the property sheet, but you could come over here just as easy and say, all right, I want them all underlined, and I want to change the color to be a blue. So the information can be done here, right up in the menu, or you can do the same in here in the properties sheet. All right, and you can see font underline, font italics is no. All right, and then if I view it by going home, you're going to see now my titles are blue and underlined. All right, that's going to be the end of Lesson 8 video.